Hi, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. This is your girl, LaBrea Nelson, and I didn't want to just hop back into YouTube doing the type of videos that, of course, I want to do because I wanted to take a time and update you guys just on where this channel is going, but also kind of some things that I've been struggling with as well. And the overall topic, as you guys can see in the description, is motherhood. So, of course, this channel is all about learning, managing, and perfecting my current homestead until I get the homestead of my dreams. And part of that has been managing motherhood. I won't lie to you, it has truly challenged my mental health. You guys know I'm a therapist, so though I know a lot of the skills, it's very different when it's time to apply it and troubleshoot those skills for yourself and not having external people to help you with that. And so I wanted to take some time and talk about motherhood and mental health and how those two things can sometimes end up hand in hand. So, you guys gonna see me do a little jig here. Your girl has to get jiggy, but then I had to get back to it. This video is just a bunch of clips of me cleaning up at separate times. Don't get it twisted. I am not cleaning up my whole house at one time. These are separate days, separate videos. But I want to talk about mental health and why mental health is so important. So, Oxford Languages describes or defines mental health as a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. I define it as all of those things with how we're feeling, how we're thinking, and how that impacts our day-to-day life. And when we think about mental health, our mental health is so vital to our abilities to be productive, for our ability to impart in our families' lives, and just to be the best version of ourselves. If our mental health is not intact, our family suffers for it. And so without mental health, without a good positive mental health, we don't get to see our lives as joyous as they are, as well as we don't get to be active participants in the beauties of our life. And that takes me to specifically why I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this. Because not only am I qualified because, of course, I went to school for it. You guys know I'm a social worker, a master's level social worker, and I have years of clinical experience. But also, I live it. We all have our experiences with mental health and how we've seen in the past that it has either been beneficial to our lives or been super stressful and created this level of tension and frustration with our lives. And so I don't want to come on here making it seem like I'm just picking a topic that I feel like is trigger happy or I feel like is super common to talk about and choosing to talk about it. I'm not. It's something that I'm experiencing still now, and I'll talk more about that later, and something that I've helped other people manage and overcome as well. So let's get into the nitty gritty of my mental health journey as we take a peek at Noah, and he does not wave at the people when asked, but it's fine. So my mental health journey has been one of really kicking and screaming, you guys. I have always been a very quote unquote emotional person. My parents tell me a lot of stories about a girl who felt a lot of things. And as I become an adult, I still feel a lot of things. And I've been trying my best to be able to manage those and manage what is rational, what's irrational, what's true and what's not true. Like I said, we all have our experiences. We all have things that we go through, and two people can experience the same thing and see those things from two totally different perspectives. And some people choose to see it in a way that is productive and beneficial. And some people choose to see that in a way that is personally reaffirming and may be super stressful to the relationships in their lives and stressful to the outcome that they're looking for. I personally have teetered back and forth with both of those. To get more specific and a little bit more vulnerable, I have struggled very much with anxiety and have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I have struggled with depression. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts. And a lot of those things stemming from things in my life that were stressful for me and that I could control. And some of those things being that were stressful for me that I could not control. And learning to manage what I can and cannot control and respond accordingly. So, even more so, adding on to that motherhood, a lot of women, experience postpartum depression after having kids. And I'm the type of person who I don't generally know something is wrong until it's gotten so wrong. It's been going on and I feel like I'm fine and I feel like I'm coping, and then my face hits the wall and then I realize I'm not really coping. I'm just hiding. I'm just masking and pretending like everything is okay and throwing myself into projects and trying to learn new skills because maybe that'll make me feel a little bit better. Maybe that'll help. And it doesn't always. It doesn't always help to throw ourselves into projects and try to quote unquote reinvent ourselves. Maybe if I was a little bit different here, then I could be a little bit better, but it's not always like that. A lot of times, most times, it's not that. You have to deal with the issue rooted within. So right now, how I'm dealing with my mental health, or what I am experiencing my mental health, is learning to acknowledge how I feel and not exasperate it, not make it this big, huge thing, but being able to acknowledge it so that I can make healthy changes towards the person that I want to be. So I haven't really talked to you guys a lot about my motherhood journey and how we kind of got to this place that I am now. Like I said, I am a licensed social worker and I worked for a nonprofit for several years before becoming a mom. And I prayed and prayed and prayed to God to bless me to be a mom, and specifically a twin mom. And I was blessed with that. But before arriving to that place, my husband and I were living in Memphis, and you guys have seen, or if you haven't, you can go back and look at some other videos of some times that we posted while we were in Memphis specifically. And I was working for this nonprofit and living a life of extreme stress. When you work for a nonprofit, you do a lot of work and you don't necessarily get paid in a way that compensates that, but you do it not for the pay. You do it because the joy and the love that you get from helping these people. And working at that job, and my husband and I wanted to get pregnant, and we had been married for 2 years at the time, and we just felt like, it was our time. We wanted to get pregnant, and it took us about a year. We were married for about a year, then we got pregnant. We tried to get pregnant. It took us a year after that. So it took us about 2 years to conceive and have a child. And after that, I left my job, and my husband got a job offer here back in Mississippi. So we left Memphis and moved back to Mississippi. And all of a sudden, I was a stay-at-home mom. Before that, I was a stay-at-home pregnant wife, but then I became a stay-at-home mom. And honestly, you guys, I did not know how to manage that. I went to therapy, and I was able to process some things with my psychiatrist and just being able to talk to her specifically. And I realized that I was grieving that version of myself. I laugh with my husband because I call her La Brea 3.0. I was grieving this La Brea 3.0 who was a working woman, who was very independent, who was allowed to shine out front and be very present and build her own relationships and spend a lot of time outside. And then out of nowhere, really, it felt, I became a person who was completely indoors all the time, highly difficult to go outside, isolated because all the relationships that I had spent years and years building in Memphis, we had to leave those relationships behind because of this next chapter in our life. And though motherhood is the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced, it's also one of the biggest triggers for this mental health that I'm experiencing. I've heard a lot of homesteaders and stay-at-home moms talk about finding the beauty in the mundane, and I think that that truly edifies where my struggle is with motherhood and how it impacts my mental health. I'm used to being in a place where things are constantly going on. I'm constantly solving problems, and though problems present themselves in the home, there is a lot less stress and chaos and unpredictability when you are managing a space that you get to create. And though that's a beautiful thing, it has been a very big adjustment for me and has required me to readjust not only my expectations of myself and the people around me, but my life in general. Like I said, am now at La Brea 3.7, it appears. And I am trying to readjust my expectations for what my life should be like. Not that I can't expect or aspire to different things, but respecting the current place that I am now. And that's when you guys hear me say a lot about respecting and perfecting my current homestead. We can all aspire and desire a different thing, but until that thing comes, being able to respect where you are now, acknowledge it, and affirm it, and then work towards the place that you want to get to, no matter what that thing may be, whether it be a new physical place or a new mental place, financial place, whatever that place may be. So I just want to share 2 practical tips that I feel like have worked for me specifically and that may be of some benefit to you all. So the first tip is to get connected with some godly and mature women who can pour into you. I think sometimes we put ourselves on this island where we feel like we're experiencing this thing alone, and it's our responsibility to manage it alone because we are the women of the house and we are supposed to be the nurturers and the caregivers, and that's not other people's responsibility to do that for us. But that's not true. We are not on an island alone, and everyone deserves support. Everyone deserves to be seen and be heard, and it is difficult to do that when you are not able to have people to talk to. And I say godly because you need people who are going to give you the word, because the word is the truth. You don't want people who are going to insert their own feelings or their experiences. You want people who are going to give you what God says, what God expects for you, and the things that God is willing to give to you. And the second tip is going to be to carve out some time for yourself. You have to be able to have time for yourself. Your life is not only made up of the people you take care of. You're still you. And as you get older, you need to learn the new you. You need to date the new you, spend time with the new you, so that you can respect her and treat her nice as you're learning these new things. So make sure that you're carving out that time. I would love to do a video specifically on tips and about managing your mental health as it pertains to motherhood. If you guys are interested in a video like that, I would greatly appreciate a comment down below. And I thank you so much for sitting with me today, no matter what you were doing, and being present as we navigate this journey together. I love you all, and I thank you. Till next time, we'll see ya.